Down to the federal building, and I had to have my mother's signature because I was not 21 yet. I was 20 and 9 months. And so I signed up, but they said, do you want to go in now and have them call you or wait at home? And I didn't like that, go in until they call you. But I'll wait at home. It was November when they called to report to Chicago. Going to take a train down to San Antonio, Texas. It's the first time I found out that the time went up as you went west. You know, Chicago is 1 hour difference in our favor, thank goodness, or else I would have been late. But it was a DC-3 that was, who built that thing? Still runs, still running today. Twin engine Dakota.
Is that Douglas?
Douglas, right. Douglas DC-3. Thank you, Don. Called the Dakota, another name. First time I've been on a plane. I left my sweetheart, and I didn't like that one bit anyway. Oh yeah. So I went, reported where I was supposed to be. That was later, after they gave me a uniform. And so we jumped on the train, headed for San Antonio. And one of the guys on the train, his name was Parmalee Dovey. Such a name like that, almost Davy. Parmalee Dovey. Yeah. And I always remember he said, I would dearly love to play some bridge, you know. And the guys where I worked, they didn't talk like that. Yeah. Came out kind of funny anyway. And at that time, they were still playing auction bridge. And contract bridge is just coming in. If anybody knows contract and auction bridge. But anyway, I'm playing auction bridge, they're playing contract bridge, so we didn't get along too well. Okay. So all the way down, I recall going down Texas, then they dumped us out in the field. We were the underclassmen. Anybody's ever seen one of those Navy training on things like that? When you're the underclass, everybody beats on you, you know. We had 3 answers we could give, whether you were yes sir, no sir, and no excuse sir. Not a lot of latitude there, right? But they put us all in these big, what would you call them there, the big one, where they had all the bunkers. Barracks, good word.
Like Quonset hut?
Yeah, and they went by alphabet. So everybody in our barracks was, last name started with a C. My best buddies were Clement and
Coleman,
yeah,
Corey.
Coleman, yeah, all those guys. My best friend was Richard Clement, Richard P. Clement. So my son John is named Clement in the middle. He's John Clement Coffman. He died over Boise in an accident. So we spent most of the time out on the field exercising or learning how to march, right, Jimmy? Back and forth, picking up rocks, and but the mess was good. Except they wanted to have you sit like this, straight up and down, and eat a square meal. And for the square meal goes like this: up straight, in straight, like that. And the instructions were to take your left hand. Go pick up the food, go this way, don't look around, you know, back down again. Except I'm left-handed, yeah. So the first couple of days, I didn't do so good. I'm trying to get enough food in, you know, and I'm going to use this hand, but I don't know who to ask. Yeah. I should have held my hand up. I finally got the attention of somebody. Says, "Oh, he didn't mean that." Okay, but you didn't ask a lot of questions because these guys were always telling you until you became an upperclassman. Now it's a little better, okay? But they're separating us out into who wants to be a bomber pilot, twin engine, single engine, fighter planes.
Fighter planes.
So I said, yeah, fighter planes. We all signed up for fighter planes. And it was, I got to tell you this story, it was Christmas Eve, and I was marching duty with a rifle that didn't even have any bullets in it, you know. And over the loudspeakers, about midnight, Bing Crosby singing, what's he singing?
White Christmas?
Yeah, what's the word? I'm
dreaming of a
dreaming
white
of a white Christmas. Is that right? Yeah. And the tears are running down my cheeks. I'm so homesick. And I missed my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So we kind of got together after that and planned the wedding, which happened in February. And that she had to jump on a bus, 3 days on a bus, to get from Detroit to San Antonio, Texas. And what faith and love that showed. So we were married on the base, and she was the only gal in the whole. I couldn't even get off the base to meet her, or get a marriage license, or a blood test. I couldn't get off the base.
And her best man was her bridesmaid was a man.
Yeah, T.P. Coleman, he was a hulking cadet. He's a big guy. And luckily we got a one-day pass, and our bridal photos are taken on the sidewalk outside the Gunther Hotel. And that's our wedding picture. So now she had to join, that was Thursday, and on Friday, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So the wives and girlfriends of the cadets all had cars, and so they would travel and take the others along with them. Everybody chipped in for that, right? And so the first thing in Tulsa, she's got to find a place to stay. And they don't have motels like they have today, you know. Check into a motel. The motels were kind of chintzy in those days.
Yeah.
So we had to find a room, but the class ahead of us had just moved out, so they're looking for people to work and people to rent the rooms. So that a little bit. So that was that Spartan School of Aeronautics we talked about in Tulsa, Oklahoma. See?
Yeah.
Right outside Tulsa Municipal, which is like the big airport you have here. Yeah. And it was private. There was only one lieutenant, and he was a pistol, that guy. He was always checking the bed check, you know, at night. And I always wasn't in this bed, I was in another bed. See? And I would get an hour gig every time he found me gone. So Sundays I spent, the ladies are sitting on a bench watching me and my buddy Corey's about 6'4", running around this circle, you know, running our gigs off. We got 5 gigs per hour of running. Nicole could have handled that, right? Oh, that was terrible. So then we go to Winfield, Kansas. This is, their first one was primary training. Basic training, okay. And the plane was the one to call a Vultee vibrator. They did do that, blah, 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 blah. Now we're back to Army installation, no more fooling around. You know? And learn the basic fundamentals. And then we go to Texas. Eagle Pass, Texas. Anybody know Eagle Pass, Texas? On the Rio Grande, south of Del Rio. And can't,
You know that?
yeah, and they had no facilities for wives or Lily. And that could have been the worst day of my life. When she had to go on a train going north and I had to get on a train going south. I was desolated. Worst day. Yeah. But Eagle Pass, everybody wore cowboy boots because of the rattlesnakes. And what are those?
And the tarantulas.
Yeah, tarantula. Take off the boots in the morning. Anybody in there? And the colonel used to ride a horse around the base with a cowboy hat on, their cowboy boots. And it was so hot down there we couldn't work during the afternoon.
Sneak out of here for a second.
Go to school, it was just sweat. So they had a big pool and they swam in the afternoon. Yeah, great, but they had to go to school at night. Half the crew was flying, and that was fun. That was an AT-6. That was a one they call a Texan. It had a 650 horsepower engine, and it really flew outside of a skinny wheelbase, which tend to make you what they call when the plane goes around in a circle, which should be going straight. That's not too good. But that's where we learned to shoot. We must have shot thousands of rounds of skeet because we had to learn how to lead a target. They even had us on a platform looking down at the
What's the
skeet.
save the date?
You know, most of them you're looking up at the skeet.
The marriage
Pull,
save the date thing?
mark, pull.
Graduated, was it for?
or doubles, whoop, whoop.
It's a little magnet. And
And so we had to learn how to lead a target. You don't shoot at the target because by the time the shell got there, the target flung off, right?
yeah, who is that?
And then we graduate
For
there,
me.
and I tell you,
Who's getting married?
had to change trains in San Antonio. We're down to Eagle Pass,
Bring it to me,
go up
let me see.
San Antonio on the train. And they had some Mexican drivers there. We told them we were in a hurry and we had to go to this other station. And we should have never mentioned we were in a hurry because I had to sink that out of sight. I couldn't stand. We hadn't been in a car really.
That's
All these cars flying around.
My
Get
brother
out!
that died, that's his daughter.
But now we travel around because I've got a job towing targets with the B-26 that we talked about, so other guys can shoot at them. We felt sometimes they were shooting at us, you know. But we were way down on US 27, Avon Park, near Sebring, where they used to have the road races, right down the middle of Florida. B-26. Then we got transferred up into Tampa Bay, the big base there, you know. And she had just got a beautiful apartment. Now I'm transferred, would you believe it, to Pocatello, Idaho? Pocatello, Idaho, that's where, you know your map, don't you? You're way down here, and there's Pocatello, it's north of Denver. Way up there.
Phone's going off over there.
Now we're towing targets again, but we finally got transferred to Rapid City, where I joined a B-17 crew, getting ready to go overseas. By this time, Patricia is pregnant, and she's going to have Cindy at home, as in 1944, in June 22. And I couldn't even get off the base. She was with me in Rapid City and had to go home. And I didn't get to see her until about 10, 12 weeks later. You know? So what a nice baby. And then I had to take off. I was telling Pam that I was in London for 48-hour pass. And I came up out of the underground, the tube, you call it, tube.
Yeah.
And it's so dark up there, everything's turned off. You know, you can't see a thing. You can't see your hand in front of your face. Yeah. And I'm telling my buddies that I don't know where we are. And a soft hand takes a hold of mine and she says, I know where I am. Oh, how nice of you.
How about the time you were shuttling planes to Kingman, Arizona?
Kingman, Arizona, yeah.
Oh, after the war? Do you run there?
We were safely ensconced down in San Angelo, Texas. I was flying students, bombardier students, navigation students, in this twin-engine plane, whatever. And they hauled a whole bunch of B-17s back from Europe. And they plumped in up in Lubbock, Texas. Everywhere they could, in between the barracks and everywhere, out on the roads. And they were all war weary. You know, really shouldn't be flying these things around. Every plane has a book, they call it Form 1A. And most of them are on a red diagonal, meaning you can fly it. Red X means, hey, don't fly. Red says you can fly it as long as you recognize, here's what's wrong. And then the next page you go down and you got about 3 pages of things that are wrong. But it never mentions if it's a gas guzzler. Never did. And the third one that we got was a gas guzzler. And I'm up in the dome taking pictures. I've still got those pictures around. I want to catch the southern end of the Grand Canyon. And the co-pilot, it's the first time he ever saw B-17 when he fired the first two up there. He says, you better get up here. He says, we're running out of gas. What, running out of gas? You have about 4 tanks, you know, check all the tanks. Get down there, we are running out of gas. You know, we got a long way to go, wow. So we finally made it in, and I'm looking at the gas, and they're all kind of leaning on empty. So we made it, and texted it in, and shut it down. Thank goodness we're here. Went in the mess hall for something to eat, and the guy that's up on the maintenance man, he had jumped in the plane and started taxiing down the runway. He got about 50 feet and it ran right out of gas. So that's what hey, who flew the plane in there? Oh, thank goodness. We would have never been able to go around. If we couldn't go in the first time, we would stall halfway down the road. Don't even want to think of those things.
Someone was looking out for you.
No.